We meet again. Oh, you know, this is probably the most unloved Easy Beats 45. It's the one that came out after Friday on My Mind, which was a killer single. You know, the B side's even better. Made My Bed, Gonna Lie in It. But this was the follow up, and it was a huge flop in Australia. And this is my original. I bought it at the time. I love it. It's it's the start of their real experimental stage, and people just couldn't, the kids, See, the Easy Beats had a huge female following too. I mean, the Beatles were a girls' band, but the Easy Beats could cover both bases here in Australia. The guys loved them for their, you know, sort of up yours attitude. Who gives a shit? And the girls loved them for their gorgeous ballads and things. And as David Bowie once said when he landed at Sydney Airport back in the 80s, because David Bowie lived in Sydney on and off for a couple of years. A lot of people don't know that. But I was, what do you call it, one of those, a house sitter. I used to do house sitting. And I lived in some of the best suburbs in Sydney for years on and off there. Beachside suburbs, just mining people's flats, these rich bar, people that were travelling overseas from, for months. I just mined their place for them, and I lived in famous people's houses and everything. Because all I do is I just take up one tiny section of a room and not touch anything in the house, and so there's no complaints. Anyway, um, yeah, David Bowie, when he got off the plane, he said, "Where's Vanda and Young?" That's the first thing he said. And he covered Friday on My Mind really, really badly on Pin-Ups, his worst album by a million miles, an absolute disaster. Anyway, just getting on the subject of B-sides, and the Easy Beats were one of those bands, like the Trogs, believe it or not, and the Beatles, not so often the Stones, but great B-sides, and the B-side's much better than Who'll Be the One. The B-side is Do You Have a Soul? Um, Man, it's so good. And this is probably one of their worst selling singles, and they never really recovered. This was a huge what do you call it, financial mistake or whatever. They should have, but I'm glad they didn't, because they actually started writing their really, really good songs after this. Yes, it's a bit of a mess. Will Be the One. It's sort of like about 5 songs. They sort of tried to stitch it all together, and it sort of doesn't work. But that's me. I'm cracked. I'm crazy. You ought to know that by now. So it sounds perfectly normal to me. But Do You Have a Soul is a straight up, no nonsense, just gorgeous. And and on it, Stevie Wright, poor old Stevie, even though he was English, born in England, he had him and the other guys from Holland and Scotland and England, they adapted to Australian life, took it, like ducks to water, and especially in the 60s, Australia was free as in the 60s. It was all blue skies, sunshine, surf, sun, sand. It was, if you lived in Sydney. Fuck the rest of the country. Who gives a shit about the rest of this fucking country? It's Sydney or the bush, and I'm in the fucking bush. Anyway, do you have a soul? I always thought it should have had a question mark. It just says, do you have a soul? It's not making a statement at all. Even though it's the best B side they made, well, that's a big statement, because oh my god, no, that's too big a statement. It's one of their best B sides. Why doesn't it have an exclamation mark, or no, a question mark? Because do you have a soul? I know I do. I'm not religious, you know, fuck that shit. But I've got a soul, and I think I have. So I would put a question mark on this as a question to ask someone else that's listening to it. Do they, do you have a soul too? Yes, I have a soul, Vanda and Young, and you see, I'm 6 foot 1.5 inches, though I'm shrinking in my old age. I might only be 6 feet tall now. Um, that's in the old school, but any Yanks watching this will know what 6 feet means. You pommy bastards and that. You've probably gone centimetres and shit too, like we did in the 60s. Um, um, yeah, I'm still like 6 feet tall in the imperial measurement scale, but I've always felt that my soul's only 3 feet 11.5 inches tall. Like when I'm walking around, especially when I'm walking into the shops and that, and pretending I'm not looking at someone's girls and things, I I feel like my little soul is somehow hanging onto my collarbone inside, this mechanical man machine, as Kraftwerk would say, as it sort of walks, towards the shampoo shelf or the birdseed. It's my little soul. Sometimes it's hanging onto the collarbone here, and it's trying to climb up so I can actually look through my eyes at where the birdseed and the shampoo is. Not that why would my soul be interested in that shit? It's just a fucking soul, you know. When there's this rotting, maggot-ridden, stinking corpse, which will be pretty soon, sometime in the next few years or minutes, whatever, that little soul is just going to go floating off into the sky. And what's it going to do? Yeah, only 3 feet 11.5 inches tall. But normally it sort of resides somewhere from there down to there. But then when it falls off the inside the collarbone, its damn little feet kick me in my nuts, from the inside. I was goalie when I used to play soccer, or what you Poms call football, or what you Jerry bastards call Fußball. Fußball? Was ist das? Um, yeah, yeah, the little bastard everything. It sometimes it kicks me in the nuts from the inside. So when I was a goalie, I got kicked in the knackers once. Oh Christ, this guy! I was going like this, and he comes right up, and he went to kick the ball. He missed the ball. How can you miss a fucking ball that big? I think it was intentional. Like you all right now would love to kick my fucking head in or kick me in the balls. You'd love to, wouldn't you? Well, you can't. So, yes, you can. 24 Watt Street, Cowra, 2794. Pop here and have a go. But, yeah, I think he missed the ball. And with that, those stud things on the bottom of those faggoty bloody soccer boots, it kicked me full force in the knackers. That's when I was about 14. I've never been right in the head ever since. Bye for now.